Good morning, my peeps. Good morning. It's been a little bit since we've talked this early in the morning. Toby Knapp is my name. iHeart Radio's Toby Knapp, heard somewhere in the air around you, somewhere in North America, sometimes seen, sometimes heard. I try very hard not to be scripted. I try very hard to be my most authentic self, and I try very hard to, for the love of everything holy, embrace the randomness because that's part of what makes me me. So anyway, I've been getting used to a new schedule. This morning it hit me. It's interesting to be able to get into the office, right? Do some things and then leave and go get breakfast, and then still get back before my usual breakfast places are open. It's unbelievable to me. But it's interesting when you make a few changes, and I've been kind of meditating on this a lot. You can read some of my thoughts if you follow me on TikTok, Toby Knapp, the number 0. TikTok, the Toby Knapp, the number 0. I might have a surprise in it for you. If you follow me on TikTok today, you'll see what that is. Today, just in time for Valentine's Day, TikTok. And I'll tell you what that is a little bit later on here on another episode of Live. Instagram at Toby Knapp. If you follow me, you'll be able to stay up with the things that have been going on kind of in my life and why there have been so many changes and whatnot. But anyway, I digress. I will say this, and this is something that I've learned, and I'm going to share this with the class in the form of kind of my thoughts. Last night, as I was drifting off to sleep, it hit me. When you remove, I can't say that. I was going to say when you remove the obstacles in your life, but life, we never really remove obstacles, do we? We always have to live through obstacles. We play through obstacles. And sometimes those obstacles can be less than pleasant. But nothing great comes without some pain. And that can be mental pain, it can be physical pain, it can be a combination of both. But growth is a process and it doesn't just happen overnight. So we have to constantly make tweaks and changes to the way we operate. And if you're lucky, if you're just so lucky, then maybe you have some people professionally and personally who care about the fact that maybe you're going through something. I don't know what a midlife crisis is like. I mean, I couldn't identify it if you asked me what it was like. I don't know that I've had one. But would I know if I knew what it looked like? I probably wouldn't, and that's cool too. So I've let that go. Anyway, long story short, my friends, I have cut out some things that have caused me to not get the sleep that I should have been getting. And my sleep is not at 1,000%. But one of the things that I realized is that life is going to progress the way life progresses. And you're going to adapt and change and grow. And it's not an overnight thing. And it's not a thing that happens after a month. It's foolish to believe that consistency, I think, and this is my opinion, it's foolish to think that consistency comes just because one snaps one's fingers, It's a process. It's a part of life. It's a part of growth. And to me, that growth, that process is part of the exploration and the journey that is life. So remove some of these variables. And if I choose not to stay up late and I get myself to bed on time early after I get my work done for you, because I do this not for myself, you allow me to have this job, if I'm being honest. And I need to remember to make it more about you, because it's not really about me. It's about you. And because you allow me to have this job, I need to try to be the best me I can be on a lot of different levels. And so getting to bed early, getting up early has given me more time to think about new things, to do things that I thought that maybe I couldn't do because maybe I was getting older or I was letting some sort of chronic illnesses get in the way. And provided some sort of diagnosis doesn't come down that derails me, knock on wood, because, these days anything can happen. Anything can happen. I think I'm cracking the code to getting back to this me that I enjoy, which is going Mach 5 with your hair on fire. But there's a difference this time. This time around, now that I've kind of retooled the engines and I'm rebooting some things, this time around, it's a little bit different. There's not a need for me to feel like I'm playing a role. There's more of a need for me to be myself. Sometimes I would compartmentalize things that weren't good. You know how sometimes we don't talk about things that are bad? Sometimes we kind of bury them. Man, I've been guilty of that for way too long. And as I've been working on me and working on that, I've recognized it. And well, it's just going to be a lot of fun. But anyway, so come along with us for this trip and this adventure. Now, you've been hanging out Let's see. Lots to talk about King Charles. I hope he gets over his cancer. That was yesterday's news today. Lots to talk about Taylor Swift. You're going to start to see a lot of prop bets and stuff roll out on the big game. We were talking about some of these last week after we knew who was going to play in the big game this weekend. And now we're looking at some of these prop bets. But first, let me tell you this, and this will come up. And then people are going to talk about different foods and all of this. But when the world goes left, I try to tell you something to the right so that we continue to learn new things. We as people plan to spend more time eating food than actually watching the big game. No kidding. Survey out says 40% of Americans will watch less than 30 minutes of this game. Why? Because we're going to be eating. So what are people going to watch? Well, the halftime show, more than half will watch that. Commercials. I guess beverages and snacks are more appealing than the game, according to this research. I don't know. I like a good game. Food is just part of the equation. And I've got to be kind of somewhat beverage free, which is going to be a little bit interesting, but that's a choice I've made. And, you know, like what is it Chris Stapleton said? Chris Stapleton says, I'm in retirement for now, but I choose to come out of retirement at some point. I may choose to. I don't know. I like the way I feel. And I want to get healthy. I want to be 100% healthy and get a clean bill of health from my doctors before I dive into any behaviors that would be a little crazy. And so back to the bets. Prop bets. We got some early ones that are still out there. How long will Reba McEntire's national anthem be? Who's going to call the coin toss correctly? Who will win the coin toss? How many songs will be in the halftime show? That's interesting. What's the length of the halftime show going to be? How many times will they cut away to one Taylor Swift, who you might have heard of? She's dating a guy who plays football. So that's one of the prop bets that everybody's talking about. It's very interesting. Did you know that the Taylor Swift effect, by the way, has number one made Japan issue statements. Number two has made NORAD track her flight back from Japan, where she's playing on her tour this weekend. And then I guess the commissioner of the NFL is like thankful for the Taylor Swift effect. Well, you know what? Everything Taylor Swift turns to gold. Love her, hate her, whatever. It don't matter to me. Girlfriend's on the cover of Time magazine, made $1 billion over this summer. And by the way, has been pretty genuine about it. And she's not a CIA plant, nor is she involved in some vast conspiracy to get people to vote. You can't make this stuff up, really. I mean, it's redonkulous when you have people who are, numerology is one thing. This whole 13, there's 13. That's one thing. But when you are talking about how, Taylor Swift and her significant other are like plants for the Central Intelligence Agency designed to usurp some sort of domestic politics, that's just ridiculous. Who comes up with that? Prop bets. I might make some. Not sure if I will or not. I need to kind of save my money. But here's the great thing about a prop bet. Depending on the odds, and you can go to any one of the sports books that you go to. I prefer to go live in person if I can. You kind of take a look at the odds and you play the game. And you know what? If you can't spend big, don't. There's really no reason to. You budget. And that's one of the things I've learned about in the last 24 hours is that it's okay for us to talk about budgets because these budgets are a thing, people. So don't blow your budget or the mortgage on any kind of bets or prop bets for the big game number 58. That way you're not sleeping in the truck bed, as a country artist would say. Finally, there's one last thing I want to say, and this is more related to the DC audience, and this is about the new coach of the Washington Commanders, Dan Quinn, who comes from the Dallas Cowboys, and how he's bringing some Dallas Cowboys to Washington to take over the Commanders as of, I guess, today. Commanders fans are very interesting, and I get that they've been through a lot. And, I've wanted to like the Commanders. People like Ryan Kerrigan have made me a fan, and Robert Griffin III. I really liked Ron Rivera, but I understand the need for change. People have got to understand that this man hasn't even called a play for the Commanders yet. And y'all are writing him off saying he's the worst of what's available. Who did you want? Bill Parcells? Or I mean, that guy's God love him, but the dude doesn't need to be coaching. He's maybe playing coaching for a couple more years, and then he's going to ride off into the sunset. I mean, Pete Carroll, front office for the Seahawks. I mean, I don't know. You can either look back or you can look forward, or you can take a look at the present and you can say, let's make this what we know it can be despite some problems. And that's what I think, the Commanders are doing. I think they've taken a look at this. They've taken a look at the numbers. People don't get involved, like this ownership group. They don't get involved with buying a multi-billion-dollar franchise to lose, So, I mean, like, cut some slack. Cut them some slack. Cut this new ownership group some slack. Cut the Commanders some slack. You don't even know what they're going to do yet, I mean, and that to me is just what's crazy. It's like, why are we so quick to judge? And I get that it's been a long time since the nation's capital region has had a football team of any gumption do anything. But I found it very interesting. The announcement came out, and then people wanted to dog the announcement. What are you, damned if you do and you're damned if you don't? I mean, something had to change. These new owners bought this team from the Dan you did not want around anymore. So cut this new ownership group some slack, fans of these Commanders. You might get stuck with somebody like that other Dan again. Y'all don't want that, do you? Anyway, have a great day. Love you. If you need me, find me. TikTok, Toby Knapp 0. Insta, Toby Knapp, TOBYKNAPP. On X, formerly known as Twitter, at TK Radio. And of course, you can always email me directly, especially if you've watched this long and you want a Valentine. TK at iHeartRadio.com. Tell me who you are and where I'm sending it, and I will drop it in the mail to you. I swear to the baby Jesus, and you can watch me fill them out later on today from the house, on the couch, in the little couch studio that we've got kicking at the crib. In the meantime, I've got a few things I've got to do before the DC show gets started here, and my busy iHeart broadcast day begins. But I wanted to touch base because it's been a minute. I wanted to let you know I've been thinking about you. I wanted to let you know I've been navigating some personal and family medical things, and that's why I've been less than consistent. But I'm thankful for you, and I'm thankful that you've reached out and you've asked how I'm doing. And I'm doing good. I'm getting better every day. My health is, God willing, on the rebound. We're honing in on what it is that's been a thing, and removed some things which could have been holding me back, and we'll see where we'll see where this road leads. Thanks for letting me be a part of your life's journey. I'm Toby Knapp, and I've approved this message.